The silver ship moved slowly through space toward the small blue planet. Commander Velnash stood on the bridge and looked at Earth through the big window. His 4 arms moved over the control panels as he checked the ship's systems one more time. "Sir, we are ready to make contact," said his second officer, Krikstal. The young Velkari had bright purple skin and large black eyes that showed his excitement. This was his first mission to meet a new species. Velnash nodded. He was much older and had done this many times before. The Galactic Federation had sent him to meet humans because he was calm and careful. "Send the greeting message," and he ordered. On Earth's space station, Dr. Kyung-min sat in the communication room. Red lights flashed on his screen, and a voice spoke through the speakers. The words sounded strange, but the computer was working to translate them. "This is Commander Velnash of the Velkari people. We come in peace. We want to meet and learn about your species." Kyung-min smiled and pressed a button. "Welcome to Earth's solar system. This is Dr. Kyung-min. We have been waiting for you." The Q translation was working well. Both sides could understand each other clearly. Velnash felt pleased. Humans seemed smart enough to build good computers. "We would like to visit your station," Velnash said. "Our scientists want to learn about your culture." "Of course," Kyung-min replied. "But first, we need to go through some safety steps. Please, wait while we prepare." Velnash looked confused. Safety steps? His ship had the best protection systems in the galaxy. What could humans possibly worry about? 2 hours later, Captain Daeho joined Kyung-min in the communication room. The older human wore a blue military uniform with many badges. His face looked serious but friendly. "Commander Velnash," Daeho said, "we are happy to meet you, but before you dock with our station, we must tell you about our safety rules." "Safety rules?" Velnash asked. His translator made sure the humans heard the confusion in his voice. "Yes," said a third human voice. A woman named Haiwan appeared on the screen. She held a thick book in her hands. "I am the safety coordinator. I need to explain our procedures." Krikstal whispered to his commander. "Sir, why do they have so many safety people? Are humans afraid of everything?" Velnash wondered the same thing. In all his years of first contact missions, no species had ever needed this many safety talks. Haiwan began reading from her book. "First, all visitors must wear protective suits when moving between ships. Second, you cannot touch any surfaces without gloves. Third, you must stay in marked safe areas at all times." "But why?" Velnash asked. "Our ships have perfect air filters. We have been traveling through space for thousands of years." "We know," Kyung-min said kindly, "but Earth has many things that might be dangerous to you. We want to keep you safe." Velnash looked at his crew. They all seemed confused. Humans had built space stations, computers, and translation systems. They were clearly smart. So why were they so worried about simple things like air and touching surfaces? "There is more," Haiwan continued. "You cannot eat or drink anything without testing it first. All food must be checked by our medical team. You cannot go outside without at least 3 different safety systems." "Outside?" Krikstal asked. "You mean on your planet?" "Yes," Daeho said. "Earth's surface has many dangerous things. Weather can change quickly. Some animals and plants are harmful. Even the air might be too thick for your lungs." Velnash was getting more confused. If Earth was so dangerous, how did humans live there? They seemed healthy and smart. Maybe they were just being too careful. "We understand your concern," Velnash said politely. "But we have visited many worlds. We have good equipment to protect us." Haiwan shook her head. "Commander, with respect, you have never visited a world like Earth. Our planet is different." "Different? How?" Velnash asked. The 3 humans looked at each other. Finally, Kyung-min spoke. "Everything on Earth is labeled with warnings. We have signs that say dangerous or extremely dangerous on most things." Krikstal laughed. "Most things? Surely. You mean weapons and machines?" "No," Captain Daeho said seriously. "We mean most things. Plants, animals, weather, food, water, even some rocks. Rocks? Velnash could not believe it. You have dangerous rocks? Some rocks are radioactive, Haywan explained. Others are sharp. Some contain chemicals that can hurt you. We put warning signs on all of them. Velnash's crew started talking among themselves. This was very strange. On their homeworld, only military weapons had warning signs. How could an entire planet need warning signs? Perhaps, Velnash said carefully. Your species is just very careful? Maybe, Kyungmin said with a small smile. But we have learned that being careful keeps us alive. How dangerous can your world really be? Krixtal asked. You live there every day. The humans looked at each other again. There was something in their eyes that Velnash could not understand. It looked almost like sadness. Commander, Captain Deho said slowly, humans are used to danger. We grow up with it. What seems normal to us might be very harmful to other species. We just want to make sure nothing bad happens to you, Haywan added. Please follow our safety rules. They exist for good reasons. Velnash decided to agree. These humans seemed kind even if they were worried about strange things. Very well. We will follow your procedures. Excellent, Kyungmin said. We will send you a docking guide. Please read all the safety warnings before you attach to our station. 20 minutes later, Krixtal brought the docking guide to Velnash. It was 50 pages long. The first page had the word warning written in big red letters 12 times. Sir, Krixtal said quietly, this guide has warnings about the air, the walls, the lights, the doors, and even the floor. Velnash read the first few pages. Humans warned about air pressure differences, temperature changes, gravity variations, and something called sharp corners. They even warned that their lights might be too bright for alien eyes. They warn about everything, Velnash said, shaking his head. How do they get anything done? Maybe they are just a scared species, suggested his science officer. They built good technology, but they are afraid to use it. Velnash was not sure. Something felt wrong about that idea. Humans had traveled to space and built complex systems. Scared species usually stayed on their home planets. As their ship moved closer to the human station, Velnash saw more warning signs. They were painted on the outside of the station in bright colors. Some signs had pictures of skulls. Others showed explosions or fires. Commander, Krixtal said, look at their station. It has more warning signs than our military bases. Velnash stared at the human station. Every surface seemed to have some kind of warning written on it. What kind of species put warning signs on everything they built? Sir, his communications officer called out. The humans are sending us more safety instructions. Velnash sighed. Read them to me. They say we must wash our hands before and after touching anything. We must not breathe deeply near any machinery. We must stay at least 2 meters away from all humans until medical tests are complete. 2 meters? Velnash was surprised. Are humans dangerous to be near? They say they might carry diseases. That could hurt us, the communications officer explained. Velnash looked at his crew. They all seemed confused and worried. In all their years of space travel, they had never met a species that warned about so many things. Perhaps, Velnash said quietly, we are about to learn something new about the universe. As their ship docked with the human station, warning lights flashed and alarms rang softly. Even the docking process had warnings. Velnash took a deep breath and prepared to meet the humans. He had a feeling this mission would be very different from all his others. Through the docking window, he could see humans waiting for them. They wore thick protective suits and carried medical equipment. Signs on the walls behind them read caution, danger, and extreme risk. Ready, sir? Krixtal asked. Velnash nodded. Let us go meet the most careful species in the galaxy. He had no idea how wrong he was about that. 3 days had passed since the Velkari team docked with the human space station. Commander Velnash was getting tired of all the safety talks. Every time they wanted to do something, humans gave them more warnings and more rules. Commander, Krixtal said as he entered the meeting room, I have been reading human databases about their planet. I think they are being too careful. Velnash looked up from his reports. What do you mean? They have something called nature parks, Krixtal explained. These are areas they say are safe for families. But look at the warning signs they put there. Krixtal showed his commander pictures from Earth's databases. Even the family parks had signs that said, "Caution, wild animals and danger, steep cliffs and warning, poisonous plants." They warn families about plants? Velnash asked. Yes, sir. They have lists of plants that are mildly toxic, moderately dangerous, and extremely poisonous. Even in their safest parks. Velnash shook his head. This makes no sense. If these parks are dangerous, why do families go there? Dr. Kyungmin entered the room at that moment. He was carrying another stack of safety papers. Good morning, Commander. Are you ready for today's briefing? Dr. Kyungmin, Velnash said. We have a question. Why do humans put families in dangerous places? Dangerous places. Kyungmin looked confused. What do you mean? Your nature parks, Krixtal said. They have many warning signs about toxic plants and wild animals. Why do you send children there? Kyungmin smiled. Oh, those warnings. Those are just basic safety information. Our parks are very safe. But you have signs about poisonous plants, Velnash pointed out. Well, yes, Kyungmin said. Some plants can make you sick if you eat them. But most people know not to eat random plants. Most people? Krixtal asked. You mean some people do eat dangerous plants? Sometimes children do, Kyungmin admitted. That is why we have the signs. Velnash and Krixtal looked at each other. On their world, if a plant was dangerous enough to need warning signs, it was removed completely. Humans just put up signs and hoped people would not eat them. Commander, Krixtal said, I would like to visit one of these safe parks. I want to see how dangerous they really are. Kyungmin looked worried. I am not sure that is a good idea. Maybe we should start with something safer. Safer than a family park? Velnash asked. Well, Kyungmin said slowly, Earth's environment is very different from space. Even our safest places have things that might hurt you. We have excellent protective equipment, Krixtal said. Our suits can protect us from almost anything. Kyungmin thought for a moment. Then he nodded. Okay, but we will start with the safest park we have, and you must follow all safety rules. 2 hours later, they were on a shuttle flying down to Earth. With them was Sung-ho, a human botanist who took care of plants in the parks. He was a friendly man who seemed excited to show them Earth's nature. This park is perfect for first-time visitors, Sung-ho said. It is what we call Class 2 moderate risk, very safe. What is Class 1? Velnash asked. Those are indoor gardens, Sung-ho explained. They have no wild animals and only safe plants. And Class 3? Krixtal asked. Sung-ho's face became serious. We will not be going to any Class 3 areas. Those require special training. The shuttle landed near a beautiful forest. Velnash could see tall trees, colorful flowers, and clear streams. It looked peaceful and lovely. But there were warning signs everywhere. A human park ranger named Young-soo met them at the entrance. He wore thick boots, long pants, and a hat. His belt had many tools on it. Welcome to Pine Valley Nature Park, Young-soo said. This is one of our gentlest wilderness areas. Even at the entrance there were signs. Warning, stay on marked trails. Caution, wild animals in area. Danger, do not touch unknown plants. How many dangerous plants are in this gentle area? Velnash asked. Young-soo thought for a moment. Maybe 30 or 40 types that can hurt you. But do not worry. Most of them only cause skin rashes or stomach problems. Only skin rashes? Krixtal was shocked. You consider that safe? Well, they will not kill you, Young-soo said, unless you are allergic. Then you might need to go to the hospital. Velnash was beginning to understand why humans had so many warning signs. What they called safe was actually quite dangerous. They started walking on a wide path through the forest. The trees were beautiful, and the air smelled fresh. But Velnash, noticed that Young-Soo was always watching the trees and bushes. "What are you looking for?" Velnash asked. "Bears," Young-Soo said casually. "We have not seen any this week, but they sometimes come near the trails." "Bears?" Krixtal stopped walking. "What are bears?" "Large animals," Sung-Ho explained. "They are usually not dangerous if you leave them alone." "Usually?" Velnash asked. "Sometimes they attack if they are hungry or scared," Young-Soo admitted. "But that does not happen very often." They continued walking. Krixtal was fascinated by the plants and wanted to touch everything. But every time he reached for something, Sung-Ho would stop him. "Do not touch that," Sung-Ho said, pointing to a pretty red plant. "That is poison ivy. It will make your skin burn and itch for weeks." "What about this one?" Krixtal asked, pointing to some small berries. "Those will make you very sick," Young-Soo said. "Children sometimes eat them by accident and have to go to the hospital." "And this?" Krixtal pointed to a normal-looking tree. "The bark has chemicals that can hurt your skin," Sung-Ho explained. "Also, there might be insects living in it that bite." Krixtal put his hands behind his back. It seemed like everything in this safe park could hurt him. They came to a small stream. The water looked clean and beautiful. Krixtal knelt down to look at it more closely. "Careful," Young-Soo said quickly. "The rocks are slippery. People fall in all the time." "What happens if you fall in?" Velnash asked. "The water is cold and moves fast," Young-Soo explained. "People can get hurt on the rocks or get carried away by the current." "But it looks so small and gentle," Krixtal said. "Moving water is always dangerous," Sung-Ho said. "Even small streams like this one kill people every year." Velnash stared at the pretty little stream. It was barely deep enough to cover his feet, but humans considered it deadly. Just then, a small buzzing sound came near Krixtal's head. He looked up and saw a tiny flying insect. "Oh no," Young-Soo said, moving quickly toward Krixtal. "Do not move." "What is it?" Krixtal asked, staying very still. "A bee," Sung-Ho said. "If it stings you, you might have a bad reaction." The bee landed on Krixtal's protective suit and tried to sting him. The suit protected him, but the bee's stinger got stuck in the material. "Are bee stings dangerous?" Velnash asked. "For some people, yes," Young-Soo explained. "They can cause swelling, pain, and trouble breathing. Some people die from bee stings." "This tiny insect can kill people?" Krixtal was amazed. "Bees kill more people than bears do," Sung-Ho said matter-of-factly. Velnash looked around the forest. With new eyes, the beautiful trees had poisonous bark. The pretty flowers could make you sick. The gentle stream could drown you. Even tiny insects could kill you. "How do human children survive in places like this?" he asked. "They learn to be careful," Young-Soo said. "We teach them which plants not to touch and which animals to avoid." "At what age do you start teaching them?" Velnash asked. "As soon as they can walk," Sung-Ho replied. "Maybe around 1 year old." Krixtal could not believe it. "You send 1-year-old children into places with poison plants and dangerous animals?" "How else would they learn?" Young-Soo asked, seeming confused by the question. As they walked back toward the shuttle, Velnash saw more warning signs. "Caution, uneven ground. Warning, low branches. Danger, falling rocks." Even the ground they walked on was considered dangerous enough to need warning signs. "Commander," Krixtal whispered, "I think we have made a mistake." "What do you mean?" Velnash asked quietly. "We thought humans were too careful about safety," Krixtal said. "But maybe they are not careful enough." Velnash looked back at the peaceful forest. In just 2 hours they had encountered poisonous plants, dangerous animals, deadly insects, and killer streams. And this was what humans called a safe family park. What do their dangerous places look like? Velnash wondered out loud. Young-Soo heard him. "Oh, you do not want to see those. We have deserts where the ground is so hot it can melt your shoes, mountains where the air is too thin to breathe, forests where almost every plant and animal is poisonous, And people go to these places? Crixtal asked. Of course, Youngsu said, smiling. They are popular vacation spots. Velnash felt a chill that had nothing to do with the Earth's weather. If humans went to deadly places for fun, what did that say about humans themselves? As their shuttle flew back to the space station, Velnash stared down at the beautiful, terrifying planet below. Maybe humans did not put up warning signs because they were scared. Maybe they put up warning signs because they needed them. Commander Velnash could not sleep. 2 days had passed since their visit to the Earth Park, and he kept thinking about what they had seen. How could humans live on such a dangerous planet? And why did they seem so calm about it? Crixtal entered, his quarters looking excited. Commander, I have been studying human industrial records. You need to see this. What did you find? Velnash asked. Humans work with chemicals every day that would destroy our entire cities, Crixtal said. But they call these chemicals common and safe for daily use. Velnash looked at the data Crixtal was showing him. The list was very long. Chemicals that could burn through metal, acids that could dissolve flesh, substances that exploded when mixed with water. They have factories full of this stuff, Crixtal continued, and people work there every day like it is normal. Are you sure these translations are correct? Velnash asked. I checked 3 times, Crixtal said. Commander, I think we need to see one of these factories. An hour later, they were talking to Dr. Kyung-min about visiting a human chemical facility. You want to see our laboratories? Kyung-min asked. Are you sure? They can be quite dangerous. We have excellent protective equipment, Velnash said. We just want to understand how humans work with chemicals. Kyung-min looked worried. Let me talk to Dr. Minho. He runs one of our safest chemistry labs. Maybe he can show you around. Safest? Crixtal asked. What do you mean by that? Well, Kyung-min said slowly, Dr. Minho works with chemicals that are only moderately dangerous. Nothing that will kill you instantly. Velnash and Crixtal looked at each other. Only moderately dangerous. Nothing that will kill you instantly. These words did not sound very safe. 2 hours later, they were standing outside a large building on Earth. The building had more warning signs than anything they had seen before. Signs covered every wall and door. Danger. Hazardous chemicals. Warning. Authorized personnel only. Caution. Protective equipment required. Emergency shower stations located every 50 meters. Why do you need so many emergency showers? Velnash asked. Dr. Minho, who had come to meet them, looked surprised by the question. In case someone gets chemicals on their skin, the showers wash the chemicals off before they can burn through to the bone. Burn through to the bone? Crixtal repeated. Some of our chemicals are quite corrosive, Minho explained casually. But do not worry. We have very good safety procedures. They entered the building through multiple security doors. Each door had different warnings. At each door, they had to put on more protective equipment. First, they put on special boots that would not melt if they stepped in chemicals. Then they put on thick gloves that covered their arms. Then they put on helmets with air filters. This seems like a lot of protection for a safe laboratory, Velnash said. Oh, this is just basic safety gear, said Ji-eun, the human safety supervisor. She was a small woman who seemed very serious about her job. Wait until you see what we wear when working with the really dangerous stuff. Really dangerous stuff? Crixtal asked. What do you mean? The chemicals we use for advanced research, Ji-eun explained. Those require full body suits and independent air supplies. They walked through the laboratory. Velnash saw humans working at tables covered with bottles and machines. Every bottle had warning labels. Some labels had pictures of skulls. Others showed hands being burned by acid. What is in that bottle? Velnash asked, pointing to one with many warning labels. Hydrochloric acid, said Boram, a young research assistant. We use it to clean metal and dissolve samples. Dissolve samples? Crixtal asked. Watch, Boram said. She took a small piece of metal and dropped it into a container of the acid. The metal began bubbling and smoking. In seconds, it was completely gone. That acid just destroyed metal, Velnash said, quietly. Yes, Boram said cheerfully. It is very useful. We use it for many experiments. Is it not dangerous to work with? Krixtal asked. Only if you are careless, Boram replied. As long as you wear gloves and do not splash it on yourself, it is fine. Velnash watched Boram work with the acid like it was water. She poured it from one container to another without any fear. This was a chemical that could destroy metal, and she treated it like a common tool. Dr. Minho showed them to another work area. Here we work with some of our more interesting chemicals, he said. On the table were bottles labeled extremely corrosive, highly toxic, and explosive if heated. You keep explosive chemicals on a normal work table? Velnash asked. These are not very explosive, Minho said. They only explode if you heat them over 200 degrees or mix them with certain other chemicals. Only? Krixtal could not believe what he was hearing. The really explosive chemicals are kept in a different building, Ji-un added helpfully. Those can explode just from being shaken too hard. And people work with those too? Velnash asked. Of course, Minho said. How else would we do our research? They moved to another area where a human was working with something that glowed green. What is that? Krixtal asked. Radioactive material, the human worker explained. Nothing too dangerous, just enough radiation to power some of our experiments. Just enough radiation? Velnash repeated. How much is that? Oh, maybe enough to make you sick if you ate it, the worker said. But we do not eat it, so it is safe. Velnash looked at Krixtal. On their world, any amount of radiation was considered extremely dangerous. Humans were working with it like it was a common tool. How do you know if you are being hurt by the radiation? Krixtal asked. We have detectors that beep if there is too much, the worker said, showing them a small device on his belt. If it beeps fast, we leave the room. What if it beeps slow? Velnash asked. Then we just work a little faster, the worker said with a smile. They continued their tour. Every room had chemicals that could kill, burn, poison, or explode. But the humans working with them seemed calm and happy. They joked with each other and worked quickly and efficiently. How long do people train before they can work with these chemicals? Velnash asked. A few months, Ji-un said. Maybe a year, for the really dangerous stuff. A year? Krixtal was shocked. On our world, it takes 10 years to learn to work with anything dangerous. What do you consider dangerous? Minho asked. Krixtal thought for a moment. Anything that can hurt you. But everything can hurt you if you use it wrong, Boram said. Even water can kill you if you drink too much. Water can kill you? Velnash asked. Oh yes, Minho said. Too much water can poison your blood. Also, you can drown in it. Velnash realized that humans had a very different idea of what was dangerous. They lived with deadly chemicals, radioactive materials, and explosive substances every day. And they thought this was normal. Dr. Minho, Velnash said carefully. What do you consider to be really dangerous chemicals? Minho thought for a moment. Anything that can kill you by just looking at it. Things like that exist? Krixtal asked in horror. A few, Minho admitted. But we keep those in special facilities. Only the most experienced people work with them. What kind of experience do they need? Velnash asked. Usually they have worked with moderately deadly chemicals for about 5 years, Ji-un explained. Velnash felt dizzy. Humans had chemicals so dangerous that you could not even look at them safely. And people worked with them after only 5 years of training with other deadly chemicals. As they prepared to leave the laboratory, Velnash saw a poster on the wall. It showed pictures of different chemical accidents and how to treat them. Why do you have pictures of accidents? He asked. So people know what to do if something goes wrong, Ji-un said. Chemical burns, poison gas, explosions, radiation poisoning. We have treatments for everything. How often do these accidents happen? Krixtal asked. Not very often, Minho said. Maybe once or twice a month in this lab. Once or twice a month? Velnash could not believe it. And you consider that safe? Well, nobody has died in over a year, Boram said proudly. We have very good safety procedures. As they walked back to their shuttle, Velnash's mind was spinning. Humans worked with chemicals that could burn through metal, explode without warning, and kill with radiation. They had accidents with these chemicals every month, and they considered this normal and safe. "Commander," Krikstal said quietly, "I do not think humans are afraid of danger." "What do you mean?" Velnash asked. "I think they are so used to danger that they do not recognize it anymore," Krikstal said. "What they call moderately dangerous would destroy our cities." Velnash looked back at the laboratory building. Humans went to work there every day, knowing they might be burned, poisoned, or blown up. And they were happy about it. "Krikstal," Velnash said slowly, "I am beginning to think we have seriously underestimated humans." "What do you mean, sir?" "Any species that can work with deadly chemicals every day and call it safe is not a normal species," Velnash said. "We need to learn more about them." "More?" Krikstal asked. "What else could there be?" Velnash thought about all the warning signs they had seen, all the dangerous chemicals humans use daily, and all the deadly accidents they considered normal. "I am afraid to find out," he said honestly. But he knew they had to keep looking. Because if humans were this comfortable with deadly chemicals, what else were they comfortable with? Commander Velnash had not slept well for 3 nights. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw images of humans working with deadly chemicals like they were toys. How could any species be so comfortable with danger? Krikstal entered his quarters with a puzzled expression. "Commander, I have been reading about human recreational activities." "Recreation?" Velnash asked. "You mean what they do for fun?" "Yes, sir, but I think there is an error in the translation. The activities they describe sound like military training or punishment." Velnash looked at the data Krikstal was showing him. The list included things called boxing, football, rock climbing, and motorcycle racing. "What is boxing?" Velnash asked. "According to the database, it is when 2 humans hit each other in the face until one falls down," Krikstal said. "But they do it for entertainment." "That cannot be right," Velnash said. "Check the translation again." "I did, sir. Multiple times. Humans really do hit each other for fun." Dr. Kyungmin arrived for their daily meeting. He found the 2 aliens staring at a computer screen with confused expressions. "Is something wrong?" Kyungmin asked. "We are trying to understand human recreation," Velnash said. "But the translations seem incorrect." "What are you confused about?" Kyungmin asked, looking at their screen. "It says humans hit each other." "For entertainment," Krikstal said. "That cannot be true." Kyungmin smiled. "Oh, you found our sports database. Yes, that is accurate. We have many sports where people compete against each other." "They actually hit each other?" Velnash asked. "In some sports, yes," Kyungmin said. "Boxing, martial arts, football. It is quite popular." "But why?" Krikstal asked. "Why would anyone want to be hit?" "It is fun," Kyungmin said simply. "It tests your strength and skill. Would you like to see some examples?" An hour later, they were in a large building called a sports center. The building was full of humans doing various activities, and every activity looked dangerous to Velnash. "This is our basic gym," said Taijin, a human who taught martial arts. He was a large man with scars on his face and hands. "We teach people how to fight safely." "Safely?" Velnash looked around the room. Humans were hitting heavy bags, wrestling on mats, and practicing kicks that could break bones. "Of course," Taijin said. "We have rules to prevent serious injuries usually." "Usually?" Krikstal asked. "Sometimes people get hurt," Taijin admitted. "Broken noses, black eyes, maybe a few broken ribs. But that is part of the sport." Velnash watched 2 humans sparring. They were wearing protective gear, but they were still hitting each other very hard. One human kicked the other in the stomach. The second human punched the first in the face. Both seemed happy about it. "Do people die doing this?" Velnash asked. "Not very often," Taijin said. "Maybe a few times per year worldwide. We are very careful about safety." "A few times per year?" Krikstal was horrified. "And you consider that safe?" "Much safer than it used to be," Taijin said proudly. "In the old days, people died much more often. They moved to another area where humans were lifting heavy metal objects. What are they doing? Velnash asked. Weightlifting, Tajin explained. They are seeing how much weight they can lift. Velnash watched a human trying to lift a metal bar with huge round weights on each end. The human's face turned red, and his arms shook with effort. The weight was clearly too heavy for him. What happens if he drops it? Krixtal asked. It would probably break his bones, Tajin said casually. Maybe kill him if it hit his head. That is why we have spotters. Spotters? Other people who try to catch the weight if it falls, Tajin explained. Velnash could not understand this. Humans were deliberately trying to lift weights that could kill them, and they thought this was fun. A woman named So Young joined them. She was wearing strange clothing and carrying equipment that Velnash did not recognize. This is So Young, Tajin said. She does extreme sports. Extreme sports? Velnash asked. What does that mean? Sports that are extra dangerous, So Young said with a big smile. I jump out of airplanes, climb mountains, and race motorcycles. You jump out of airplanes? Krixtal asked in shock. Yes, it is called skydiving, So Young said excitedly. You fall for thousands of meters and then open a parachute to land safely. What if the parachute does not open? Velnash asked. Then you die, So Young said matter-of-factly. But that only happens to about 1 in every 100,000 jumps. 1 in 100,000? Velnash calculated quickly. So every time 100,000 people jump, one person dies? About that, yes, So Young said. But those are very good odds. Much better than motorcycle racing. How dangerous is motorcycle racing? Krixtal asked, though he was afraid of the answer. People die a few times each season, So Young said. But the rush is incredible. Racing, at 300 kilometers per hour, knowing that one mistake could kill you. There is nothing like it. Velnash stared at this small human woman who seemed so happy about activities that could kill her. Why do you do these things? Because they are exciting, So Young said. Normal life is boring. These sports make you feel alive. Normal life is boring, Velnash repeated. He thought about the deadly chemicals humans worked with every day, the poisonous plants in their parks, and the dangerous animals in their safe environments. How could they call that boring? They were interrupted by a loud alarm. A human came running over with a medical bag. What is happening? Velnash asked. Someone got injured during football practice, Tajin explained. Probably nothing serious. They followed the crowd to a large field where humans had been playing a game. One human was lying on the ground while others stood around him. The injured human was not moving. Is he dead? Krixtal asked quietly. No, just unconscious, said Yunji, the paramedic who was examining the injured human. Looks like a concussion. Maybe a broken arm. This happens often? Velnash asked. Every few games, Yunji said while checking the unconscious human. Football is a contact sport. People get hurt. And you consider this normal? Krixtal asked. Of course, Yunji said. Sports injuries are part of the job. I treat broken bones, torn muscles, and head injuries every day. Every day? Velnash could not believe it. Sports are very popular, Yunji explained. We have football, rugby, hockey, basketball, soccer, all of them cause injuries. The injured human woke up and tried to stand. Yunji pushed him back down. Stay down, she said, you have a concussion. Can I play next week? The injured human asked. If your head stops hurting, Yunji said. Velnash watched this conversation in amazement. The human had just been knocked unconscious, and his first thought was about playing the dangerous game again. Do children play these sports too? Krixtal asked. Of course, Tajin said. We start teaching kids when they are very young, usually around 5 or 6 years old. You teach 6-year-old children to hit each other? Velnash asked. How else would they learn? So Young asked. I started extreme sports when I was 8. What sport did you start with? Krixtal asked. Rock climbing, So Young said. My parents took me to climb mountains every weekend. Velnash tried to imagine taking a child to climb a mountain. On his world, that would be considered child abuse. Here, it was considered normal parenting. Do parents ever say no to these dangerous activities? Velnash asked. Some do, Taejin said. But most parents want their children to be strong and brave. Sports teach important life skills. What life skills? Krixtal asked. How to handle pain, So-young said. How to take risks. How to keep going when you are hurt or scared. Velnash looked around the sports center. Humans of all ages were doing activities that could hurt or kill them, and they were all smiling and laughing. Commander, Krixtal whispered, I think we have discovered something terrible. What? Velnash asked. Humans do not just live with danger, Krixtal said quietly. They seek it out. They create dangerous situations on purpose. Velnash watched. A group of teenage humans learning to box. They were hitting each other in the face and seemed excited about it. You are right, Velnash said. They do not avoid danger, they enjoy it. As they prepared to leave the sports center, Coach Dongwoo showed them pictures of other human sports. Humans jumping off bridges with ropes tied to their feet. Humans racing cars at incredible speeds. Humans fighting with swords for entertainment. These are all considered normal activities, Velnash asked. Very normal, Dongwoo said. We have competitions for all of them. People travel from all over the world to participate. And parents let their children do these things? Krixtal asked. We encourage them to, Dongwoo said. It builds character. On the shuttle back to the space station, Velnash sat in silence. Everything he thought he knew about humans was wrong. They were not a careful species afraid of danger. They were a species that created danger for fun. Commander, Krixtal said, if humans do this for entertainment, what do they do when they are actually trying to hurt each other? Velnash had been trying not to think about that question. But now he knew they had to find out. Tomorrow, he said quietly, we ask about human warfare. Krixtal's face went pale. If humans did this much damage to each other, Commander Velnash had not eaten in 2 days. Every time he thought about food, he remembered watching humans hurt each other for entertainment. How could any species be so comfortable with violence? Krixtal entered the room looking even more disturbed than usual. Commander, I have been reading human history files. I think you need to see this immediately. What did you find? Velnash asked, though he was afraid of the answer. Humans have been at war for most of their recorded history, Krixtal said. But that is not the worst part. What could be worse than constant war? Velnash asked. They call the current time period peaceful, Krixtal said, even though they still have conflicts happening right now all over their planet. Velnash stared at the data. According to human records, there were currently dozens of armed conflicts happening on Earth. But humans considered this a time of peace. We need to talk to someone who knows about human military history, Velnash said. Dr. Kyungmin arrived with another human, an older man wearing a simple uniform with many colored badges on his chest. This is General Woo Jin, Kyungmin said. He used to be in our military. He can answer your questions about human conflict. General Woo Jin was a calm man with gray hair and serious eyes. He shook hands with the aliens, though they noticed his grip was very strong. Dr. Kyungmin tells me you want to learn about human warfare, Woo Jin said. What would you like to know? Is it true that humans are always fighting wars? Velnash asked. Not always, Woo Jin said thoughtfully. Sometimes we have peace for a few years between major conflicts. A few years? Krixtal asked. How long do your wars usually last? It depends, Woo Jin said. Some last a few months. Others go on for decades. The longest one I know about lasted over 100 years. Velnash felt sick. 100 years of continuous fighting? Oh, that was not continuous, Woo Jin corrected. They had breaks for winter and harvest seasons. That makes it better? Krixtal asked in disbelief. Much more civilized, Woo Jin agreed. Another human joined them, a woman named Dr. Nari who studied history. General Woo Jin is being modest, Dr. Nari said. Human warfare has become much more efficient over time. Modern wars end much faster than old ones. More efficient? Velnash asked. What does that mean? We have better weapons now, Dr. Nari explained. Wars that used to take years can be finished in weeks or months. Better weapons? Krixtal was afraid to ask, but he had to know. What kind of weapons? Would you like to see our museum? Wu Jin asked. We have examples of human military technology through history. An hour later, they were standing in a large building full of human weapons. Velnash had never seen so many different ways to hurt people in one place. These are some of our older weapons, Wu Jin said, showing them swords, spears, and bows. Very simple but effective. Even the old weapons looked deadly to Velnash. The swords were sharp enough to cut through bone. The spears were designed to pierce armor. The bows could shoot arrows through a human body. How many people could one soldier kill with these weapons? Velnash asked. In a good day of battle, maybe 10 or 20, Wu Jin said. If they were skilled and lucky, they moved to another section with more modern weapons. These are from more recent times, Dr. Nari said. Guns, cannons, explosives. Velnash looked at the weapons. Even the smallest gun looked like it could kill multiple people very quickly. How many people can one soldier kill with these? Krixtal asked. Much more, Wu Jin said. A single machine gun can kill hundreds of people in a few minutes. Hundreds? Velnash could barely speak. Modern weapons are very efficient, Dr. Nari said proudly. One soldier today can do the work of 1,000 soldiers from the old days. They continued through the museum. Each section showed deadlier and deadlier weapons. Bombs that could destroy entire cities. Chemicals that could kill thousands of people. Weapons that could be fired from other continents. This cannot be real, Krixtal whispered. These weapons could destroy our entire civilization. Oh, these are just conventional weapons, Wu Jin said. We have much more powerful ones, but we do not display those. More powerful? Velnash asked weakly. Nuclear weapons, Dr. Nari said casually. Bombs that can destroy entire countries. You have weapons that can destroy countries? Krixtal asked. Many of them, Wu Jin said. Most major nations have at least a few. Some have thousands. Velnash sat down on a nearby bench. He felt dizzy. Why do you need weapons that can destroy countries? To prevent wars, Dr. Nari explained. If everyone has weapons that can destroy the world, nobody wants to start a fight. That actually works? Krixtal asked. So far, Wu Jin said, we have not had a major world war in almost 80 years. 80 years is a long time of peace for you, Velnash asked. The longest in our recorded history, Dr. Nari said happily. A younger man in military uniform joined them. This is Jae-won, Wu Jin said. He recently returned from active duty. Jae-won looked like a normal, friendly human, but when Velnash looked closer, he saw scars on the man's hands and a serious look in his eyes. Jae-won can tell you about modern military operations, Wu Jin said. What kind of operations? Velnash asked. Peacekeeping missions, Jae-won said. We help stop conflicts between different groups. How do you stop conflicts? Krixtal asked. Usually by showing up with enough weapons that nobody wants to fight anymore, Jae-won explained. Sometimes we have to hurt a few people to convince the others to stop. You hurt people to create peace? Velnash asked. Sometimes you have to fight to end fighting, Jae-won said. It sounds strange, but it works. Dr. Nari showed them statistics on a computer screen. Human casualties from warfare have actually decreased significantly in recent decades. Velnash looked at the numbers. Even the decreased casualties were higher than the total population of his home world. These are your low numbers? He asked. Much better than the old days, Dr. Nari said. We used to lose millions of people in single wars. Millions, Krixtal repeated. The worst war in our history killed about 60 million people, Wu Jin said. But that was before we had nuclear weapons to keep everyone calm. Another human joined their group, a diplomat named In-Su who worked on preventing conflicts. Help nations solve their problems without fighting, In-Su explained, though sometimes the threat of fighting is necessary to make people reasonable. Threat of fighting? Velnash asked. Diplomacy works better when everyone knows what will happen if talks fail, Insu said. Peace through strength, we call it. So even your peace involves the threat of war? Krixtal asked. Of course, Insu said, looking confused. How else? Would you negotiate? If there are no consequences for bad behavior, people will behave badly. Velnash realized that humans saw violence as a natural part of all relationships, even peaceful ones. They could not imagine solving problems without the possibility of hurting each other. What happens when your diplomacy fails? Velnash asked. Then, we fight, Insu said simply. But we try to keep it small and quick. Small and quick? Krixtal asked. Maybe only a few thousand casualties, Insu explained. Much better than letting a conflict grow into something bigger. As they prepared to leave the museum, General Wu Jin showed them one final display. These are our current military capabilities, he said. What we could do if we really needed to. The display showed weapons that could destroy entire planets, armies that could defeat any enemy in days, technology that could end all life on multiple worlds. You have the power to destroy worlds? Velnash asked in horror. Several times over, Wu Jin said, but we only use that power to keep peace. By threatening to destroy everything? Krixtal asked. It has worked for 80 years, Dr. Nari pointed out. On the shuttle back to their ship, Velnash and Krixtal sat in complete silence. Finally, Krixtal spoke. Commander, we have made a terrible mistake. What mistake? Velnash asked. We thought humans were just another intelligent species, Krixtal said. But they are not. They are something else entirely. Velnash nodded. They are a species that has survived by becoming the most dangerous thing on their planet. And now, they think that is normal. What do we tell the Galactic Federation? Krixtal asked. Velnash thought about everything they had learned. Humans lived on a world that could kill them in 1,000 different ways. They worked with chemicals that could destroy cities. They hurt each other for entertainment. And they had built weapons that could end all life in the galaxy. But they called all of this normal. They put up warning signs because they needed them, not because they were afraid. They were not paranoid about danger. They were the danger. We tell them the truth, Velnash said finally. Humans are not just another species wanting to join the galaxy. They are apex predators who have learned to survive in conditions that would kill anyone else. Will the Federation believe us? Krixtal asked. They will have to, Velnash said, because if we handle first contact wrong, humans might decide we are a threat. What would happen then? Krixtal asked, though he was afraid he already knew. Velnash looked back at the beautiful, deadly planet where humans lived and thrived and called home.